Hi, I'm Julie McDonnell. I'm a lead practitioner in maths at a northern school in Middlesbrough. The lesson resources have massively supported the development of the department. As a department, we have got unqualified teachers, we've got non-specialist teachers, we've got Key Stage 2 transfers into Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. So we haven't got a typical maths background. So having these resources to hand mean that we can really focus on the teaching and learning that's happening in the lessons, not the development of slides to help with the communication. My non-specialists are learning how to excite our students, to develop their understanding, to engage them in maths in a manner that previously they wouldn't have been able to do at all. The impact has been phenomenal. I started the school approximately a year ago. We had students refusing to go to lessons because they didn't understand maths, they found it boring, the teachers didn't help them. We've gone under this training, this development, we're still working on it massively. And what we found is that the students are actively engaged in their learning. They're in their lessons, they're understanding it, they're excited about it. The other day I did a learning walk on a Year 10 class with students who typically would never have engaged in a maths lesson, and they were so engaged and thoroughly enjoying learning their maths. It was all about ratios, topics they hadn't understood, and I remember the last conversation having with these students in summer where they wouldn't go into the lesson because the teacher couldn't help them, and now they are fully engaged, and this is the impact that has come from the whole programme. The focus on the workshops, the developing of the teachers, the use of the resources, the language and communication we're using with the students, the development of the mathematical thinking, and ensuring that our teachers are understanding the conception behind the maths and being able to deliver that to our students. When I went on the very first CPD day, I thought, I'm in for a typical day of training, I'm going to be lectured at, I'm just not going to be engaged. But I was absolutely blown away by how engaging the work was. And I came away totally inspired. Went back to my SLT, who had previously just paid for the basic package in ARC, and said, how can we get the money to have a tailored package so we can get more support from the ARC team? Through funding, we managed to do that. And so I've now had 2 separate visits from Claire up to our area. And she's seen the transformation that we've made within our department within 6 months in terms of the teaching and learning and the engagement from the students and the staff. The support that we've had online in terms of developing the workshops, developing my understanding of how to support my teachers, developing their understanding of the importance of every element of the lesson structure, that the talk task can't be rushed. It's an important and integral part to developing the engagement of the students, whereas previously they would have rushed past those bits because there's the risk of misbehaviour. But actually, you don't have the misbehaviour because the students are engaged in their learning, which is fantastic. The way in which the team listened to any concerns, so I discussed about the fact that I had a team that didn't know how to plan the lessons. So we were taking the PowerPoints, I was supporting with that, but how could I develop them into independent planners? And that response was taken on board by the whole of the ARC team, and then they developed a more structured departmental working environment. So I find the team and the level of support to be outstanding. So assessment is, of course, an intrinsic part of any programme. We have to know how the students are learning, where the gaps are, how we need to develop our curriculum to help match their needs. Within every lesson, we have the quick check elements, which are absolutely phenomenal because just the other day, for example, one of my teachers had done a quick check and had realised that the students hadn't understood the angle-side-angle concept of constructions. So he'd put in some extra quick checks of his own to make sure that he had developed that understanding. If that quick check hadn't been there, he'd have assumed the students understood the work and set them off on the independent work. So those quick checks are fantastic. We also use the end of unit tests, and we use them so that we can track across the different groups. Like most schools, we've got a number of different maths groups. We have 7 in each year group, and the assessments that we have allow us to make sure that the students are progressing at the right rate. Do we need to make any little changes or tweaks in teaching groups? Or do we need to intervene with the teacher themselves because they need some additional support? And that's very much what my role is. So I can say, all right, your group's struggling a bit there, can I come and help you out with some of your planning? So we use all of those forms of assessment. We haven't yet used the yearly assessment, but that's only because we're in our first year. So that's our plan for this summer, to use those yearly assessments. And what I'm really hoping to see is that that extra time that we've spent delivering some of the basics in our lessons will mean that when those students get to year 9 and year 10, we don't have to recap again how you add fractions or something like that, because they actually have understood it properly the first time.